Why is it that our government can always start things up, wars, shutdowns, but they never seem to go into it with a plan to get out of it? Bush was always criticized for not having an exit strategy when it came to all the wars in the Middle East that were going on at the time. What's your exit strategy for this shutdown, everyone? Got no problem getting it started, but you can't ever figure out how to make it stop. Now we're stuck in it. There's a lot of facts, scary facts. There's a letter going around, a cease and desist to our government, to our mayors, our governors, who are ordering us to do certain things in the interest of our safety.
If these are things that save lives, keep people healthy, why not require them to do this?
You know, Judy, I understand where you're coming from, but it becomes difficult when you say require, by what? By penalty, by putting people in jail? I mean, that becomes, something that really can be counterproductive in the society that we live in America.
I don't want to stick chips in us, too, so they know where we are. Let's not even get into that. Mind-blowing. The statement says, and pardon me for reading, your declaration of a state of emergency for the COVID-19 diagnosis criteria for a series of pneumonias and influenza-related symptoms and allegations of the existence of a novel coronavirus is based on assumptions that are false. According to the International Committee on Taxonomy of Viruses, the ICTV, it was a Coronavirus Study Group, CSG, publication on March 2nd of 2020. The preliminary data suggesting that there was sufficient variation to determine this is a novel virus rather than a mutation. It was not based on any established scientific principles, but it was a responsive to the World Health Organization. And we know they're being accused of being somewhat questionable nowadays. The WHO's prior unfounded declaration of novelty of both the virus and a new disease. There could be no independent verification of the epidemiology predicting dire infection and mortality rates, as the underlying models and data were not published, and when sought were reportedly corrupted as to make their examination impossible. In violation of state law, no medical or scientific evidence was provided to establish causal links between the SARS-CoV-2 and the symptoms of COVID-19. Maybe that's why the symptoms are always changing and how it gets spread is always changing, and masks are good. No, they're not.
People wearing masks now is just not relevant. You don't need to be walking around with a mask right now.
Have to wear one.
So right now, don't worry about it. Be more concerned about influenza, which is going into a second peak for the season, than coronavirus.
Don't touch surfaces.
Does it linger on the handle of a grocery bag? On a piece of paper? What is known about that at this time?
Yes, well, studies actually have been done to determine the viable virus, when you measure it on different surfaces, like enamel, stainless steel, plastic, or cloth. It varies. It generally is measured in a few hours to, in some situations, maybe even a day or two.
Not easily transmitted off surfaces.
Are they worried unnecessarily, and what should they be doing?
No, I don't think people should be frightened. I mean, the risk right now, today, currently, is really relatively low.
Could be aerosolized. No, it can't. Maybe it can.
Right now, we're still in the middle of the flu season, and for flu, you get vaccinated, you wash your hands as frequently as you can, you avoid crowded places where people are sneezing and coughing. That would help protect you against influenza. And if and when, and I hope it's more if rather than when, if we get substantial coronavirus here, those kinds of typical simple public health measures could help protect you against coronavirus.
This makes all of that make sense now, doesn't it? Since 2003, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and their subordinate organizations, the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases, NIAID, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, CDC, they maintained a patent preventing any independent organization from testing for the presence of coronavirus transmissible to humans through 2018, resulting in a complete lack of testing technologies. And everybody's yelling at the president for not having enough tests available. Hello, CDC. Hello, NIAID. The root of the problem. No state official reviewed for accuracy or veracity any of the casual statements made in the declaration of emergency, which contain false, misleading, and terror-inducing statements. Arbitrary and capricious rules were insinuated on part of the population that were not applied, generally resulting in the unlawful confinement of healthy population with no basis in science. Aren't they always screaming, "Oh, the president ignores science"? There is no basis in science. Neither the governor or any public health officer has followed evidence-based, peer-reviewed clinical science showing that neither social distancing up to 6 feet of separation nor the wearing of masks has any clinical effect in a healthy population, that instituting such policies is exclusively for the inducement of terror in the population. As a result of these and other established facts, your orders, mayor, governor, everyone, and those that follow from these orders issued in violation of state constitutions are illegal and unenforceable. The letter goes on, and it's being mailed out to many government officials around the country right now. I hereby demand that you immediately cease and desist in your suspension of my constitutional rights. Did you know in 1968-69, the virus that was floating around at that time is still out there? Now they just call it influenza A. If they don't go away, people, we can't stay locked down forever. I was actually reading the Declaration of Independence and found some very interesting references to situations going on today that are incredibly similar. Like, for example, when a long train of abuses and usurpations, it's their right and their duty to throw off such governments and to provide guards for their future security. It also warns that prudence indeed will dictate that governments long established should not be changed for light and transient causes. Well, it all goes back to the original statement, of course, that we all know very well. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator.
We hold these truths to be self-evident. All men and women created by you know the thing.
That thing, this is that thing. Endowed by their Creator with certain inalienable rights. Among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. That to secure these rights, governments were instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed, that whenever any form of government becomes destructive to these ends, it is the right of the people to abolish it and to institute new government, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form to effect their safety and happiness. This really applies, doesn't it? So what are we supposed to do? Start a revolution? Of course not. We're going to go up against the most powerful military force in the world. Now, of course, the colonists did that going up against England, and somehow they won. But that was a very different time. It went on to say, a prince whose character is thus marked by every act which may define a tyrant is unfit to be the ruler of free people. Does that resemble our Congress today? I think so. What do you think? I also found a great quote. It was sent to me by a Facebook friend. And it says that anyone who's younger than 60 years old should be aware of what former Soviet Prime Minister Nikita Khrushchev said during an address to the United Nations in 1959. Your children's children will live under communism. You Americans are so gullible. No, you won't accept communism outright, but we will keep feeding you small doses of socialism until you will finally wake up and find you already have communism. We will not have to fight you. We will so weaken your economy until you will fall like overripe fruit into our hands. The democracy will cease to exist when you take away from those who are willing to work and give to those who would not. Now, who would try to do a thing like that? How would you create a socialist state? Well, there's 8 items listed on this list here and tell me what you think of this list and how many of them are already in progress today here. Number 1, healthcare. Control healthcare and you control the people. Number 2, poverty. Increase the poverty level as high as possible. Poor people are easy to control and won't fight back if you're providing everything they need. Number 3, debt. Increase the debt to unsustainable levels. That way you're able to increase taxes and this will provide more poverty. Number 4, gun control. I'll try not to go off too far on this one. Remove the ability to defend themselves from the government. That way you're able to create a police state. Number 5, welfare. Take control of every aspect, food, housing, income, every aspect of their lives because that will make them fully dependent on the government. Wow, this sounds familiar. Number 6, education. Take control of what people read, listen to, and take control of what children learn in school. Number 7, they're not allowing us to open churches right now, so this one's kind of a hot topic. Number 7 is religion. Remove the belief in God from the government and schools because the people need to believe in only the government knowing what is best for the people. Gee, like, stay home, stay safe. Number 8, class warfare. How long has this United States been divided in class warfare? Whether it be wealth, political beliefs, party affiliation, liberal, conservative, how much are they continually trying to divide us by race, by religion? Every way they can divide and conquer, they will. So number 8 says class warfare. Divide the people into the wealthy and the poor. Eliminate the middle class. This will cause more discontent, and it will be easier to tax the rich to support the poor. Wow. They say, stay safer at home. Well, the whole concept of safe is an illusion. We can be locked in our homes forever, slip and fall in the bathtub and die. We're never 100% safe. Never. There's flus, other viruses, and bacteria out there that can infect us at any time. Always has been. Staying at home will not keep us safe. Wearing a mask will not keep us safe. Keeping a safe distance is a good idea when someone's sick, especially. And if you don't know, that helps. Preserving life, saving lives by keeping us locked down is not saving lives at all. It's just delaying the inevitable. If there's a bug out there, those who will be infected eventually. And don't cough or sneeze in somebody's face. Good God, unless you're less than 1 year old, you know this. And washing your hands? Come on, people. Really? Haven't we always had to do that? Let's protect those who are at risk, Cuomo and others. Let's get back to life. Let's just be careful. Let's just be smart.